buddy. Come on. Hey guys, Tim here. Welcome back. So it has been 7 weeks since I got this X-Way, and I have about 160 something miles on it right now. But you know, I think I'm at a point where I can comfortably talk about the wheel now after, you know, taking it on trails, riding it on the streets, did a tire change on it. So yeah, you just want to make a conclusion videos because it's been a while. Now, before you guys watch this video, if you haven't watched my X-Way first impression video, I highly recommend you guys watch that video first, because I cover a lot of bases on that video already. This one is just kind of to wrap up the whole experience, talks about how I feel about the wheel now and whether or not I recommend it. So yeah, let's get to it. So first off, this X-Way here, this is actually my own wheel that I pay for. So, you know, like typically when people send me a test unit, it takes me like a week or 2 weeks to just turn around, because I know that there are people waiting, and so I don't want to waste time. But you know, this is my own wheel, so I took my sweet time with it, which is why I took like a month and a half. You know, but regardless if it's my own wheel or not, I'm always honest with you guys. And so whatever I'm saying in these videos is, you know, it's my own personal opinions, and I'm free to say whatever the hell I want. So, you know, don't think that I am just like shilling. Okay, so first thing first, let's talk about what I like about the X-Way. I think in terms of just like design and build quality, I think this is the best wheel that Begode has made so far. The design concept of the X-Way is still the same. It has what I call the floating battery packs. What I mean by this is that you have 4 battery boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4. And these 4 boxes are only attaches on the top, you know, to the board tray, basically. So essentially, there's no framing at the bottom to like, you know, hold them in place. So they're technically floating, but that doesn't mean that the bottom is just kind of like hanging out freely. There is a bracket here at the bottom that attaches to the motor, and this bracket also attaches to the battery boxes on the side and kind of pulls them together. And this creates a frame of the wheel. You know, you attach it to the board tray on the top, you attach it to this bracket here that attaches to the motor. So essentially the bottom is attached to the motor. You know, it's a very ingenious design, because this design means that the wheel is incredibly rigid, but also at the same time, it's still very modular. So I did a tire change on this. As you guys can see, I put a Shinko 244 to replace the stock Kenda. And the whole process to change the tire is basically take off this center plastic cover, take off this little bracket along with the pedals, and then unscrew the motor bolts, okay? And then do the same on the other side. And then just take the motor cable out, and then you can pull the motor outside of the wheel. So the tire change process is actually, I think, about an hour. It's incredibly simple to just get this wheel open. So you have the front and the back handle, and these handles are, you know, plastic on the side, and there's a metal piece at the center to just kind of attach the 2 plastic together and shore up like a whole part. And this part here also help attaches like the battery boxes on both sides, and you know, kind of secure everything in place, like both at the front and at the back. But these handles don't do just that. These handles also act as like a crumple zone. You know, what this means is that the front handle will be like the first layer of protections to keep the impact away from the top cover that, you know, protects all like the components inside. This handles is very durable, incredibly rigid. And I have no doubt that this thing is just gonna hold up in a crash. The rear handle is also the same. You can see here, this is also a plastic part. It also acts as a crumple zone. And this is another thing that I really like about the X-Way, is that the top cover is only about this much. Okay, on the bliss that you guys see over here, the top cover goes from the front all the way to the back. So if you crash on the bliss, you know, you hit from the back, hit from the front, doesn't matter, the whole thing gonna go, and you have to replace the top tray. But you know, having a shorter board tray on the X-Way means that you have the front and the back handles protecting the essential components inside. Another thing that I like about the X-Way are the pedals. So these pedals are the same as the Begode Bliss pedals. And these pedals, as you guys can see, they are magnesium alloys, which means they are lightweight, but they use actual metal spikes. So these little spikes you see here grips onto your foot very well, you know, comparing to like the Apex or maybe the Veterans link stock pedals, which uses like cast spikes, okay, which doesn't have the same amount of grip as actual metal spikes, which is why I really like these. I want to move next to like amenities. Okay, so first off, let's talk about this headlight here. I really like this headlight. It has this little blue LED strips running around it, which unfortunately you cannot turn off. The light itself is incredibly bright, is incredibly good range, a good spread. It's just very useful. Another thing I actually like is this seat here. This seat also doubles as the trolley handle. So when you pull it up, it doesn't stay up, but like pushing the wheel from the back, as you can imagine, it's actually a pretty good height, and it's not too bad pushing this wheel around. My only complaint about this seat here is that the hole for the cutout for you to grip into is a little small. So if you're wearing like gloves, motorcycle gloves, like wet winter gloves, it's gonna be a little tight to just get your hands in here. I wish they could make the hole like a slightly further inward so you can squeeze the 4 fingers in with gloves, but it's not too bad. In terms of tail light, I want to show you guys, this is the tail light. It's I guess it checks the box. This thing is not bright, it's not really that visible, and at night you should have like additional lighting on the back if you want to ride this wheel at night. Okay guys, another thing I want to talk about is this little suspensions over here. So this is the first, I think, adjustable suspensions that Begode actually uses. So it actually have like a soft to hardness level that you can just kind of unscrew the bolts on each side to kind of like lengthen or shorten the linkage. And this means that the shorter it is, the harder the shock gonna feel. The longer it is, like the softer the shock gonna feel. And the shock comes by default with a 900-pound coil, which is, I think, is like pretty good for people who are under 200 pounds. And just like the Apex, just having a lot of adjustability, I think, is a great thing, because this allows me to just adjust the suspensions to perform exactly the way I want it to be. You see, because on the Bliss, on the ET Max, on the other Begode wheel, I just kind of had to like deal with the suspensions. I'm like, what else can I do? Not much I can do, okay? But this one, I can adjust it. I can make it softer if I ride on the streets. I can make it firmer if I off-road. I can like adjust the preload. I can adjust compressions and rebounds. There's just so many ways you can tune the suspension to exactly how you like. So, like this suspensions here from Begode, I think is definitely the best that they have ever made. And last but not least, there is a USB-A port on the side of the wheel here, that on this side of the handle. I'm gonna say, guys, I'm a little tired. I don't want to spin the wheel anymore. So this side we have the charge ports, and the other side we have a USB-A port. So the wheel doesn't really have a lot of amenities, but this is an off-road wheel, so you don't need LEDs, you don't need speakers. In typical Begode fashions, nothing about Begode is perfect. There's always something that you can like pick on. The first thing I want to complain about is actually this little mud guard here. This mud guard, it have a carbon fiber patterns. It's not carbon fiber, it's just plastic. And this plastic fender here, like it does flexes like up and down. And the thing is that on the center point, it's not reinforced. So like as this mudguard flexes, over time, it would develop a crack on the center. And eventually one day, this whole thing just gonna like snap off and just fly out. That's one thing. Okay, so the second thing is that even though I just praised the suspensions, I want to point out that the stock shock that they use is on the inside, there's no bushing. So it's actually just metal rubbing on metal. Now, with that said, these are the only 2 things that I want to complain about, but Begode has already promised a fix. Basically, they will be sending out, a new shock and a new mudguard for anyone who already bought an X-Way. And future X-Way will come with upgraded parts by default, so you guys don't have to worry about that anymore. So, very good from them. Okay, so let's talk about performance. So first off, I want to clarify about the X-Way, because I think that many people are misunderstanding about this wheel. You see, and I don't blame them, because there was the ET Max, there was the Lynx, there was all these wheels that claim to have crazy amount of tow, but can also go crazy high speed. And the truth is that those wheels are not true high torque motors. Okay, they use this like kind of half and half, a little bit lower on the torque end, a little bit more on the speed ends, and that allows the wheel to just get a good amount of torque, but also a good amount of high speed. The X-Way, on the other hand, uses a C38 high torque motor. And what that means is that the X-Way is a high torque wheel. And what this means for street riding is that the X-Way have an incredibly aggressive accelerations. The accelerations is just aggressive, explosive, relentless, whatever the word you want to call it. It just want to fly like from 0 to 40. Once I first took the X-Way to this like route here, once I enter the turn, I start to like slow down to 30, and then I accelerate halfway through the turn. I look down, I'm at like 45. The wheel just, it fills that gap from 30 to 45 so quickly that like I wasn't even realizing like it was already up to speed again. And it's just, it's incredible how like fast this wheel can pull. So in terms of top speed of the X-Way, this is a very controversial topic, I think. So let me explain. Without fuel weakening, the X-Way would typically beeps around 42 to like 43 miles per hour, as you've seen on my first impression videos. But with fuel weakening enabled on the X-Way, the top speed kind of varies, okay? Because fuel weakening is a constant process. The motor is exchanging, you know, the torque for the higher free spin speed in order to go faster. And my thinking about the X-Way is that the fuel weakening process is not fast enough to, you know, to catch up with like the acceleration that this wheel have. So sometimes, you know, when I pull really hard, I will start getting beeps around 46, 47. Other times, if I just kind of like calm down around like 45 and just let the wheel coast up to speed, I can hit 55, maybe 57s. You know, that was my actual highest speed I ever hit. Now, moving on to range. I actually went out and did another range test yesterday. I charged the wheel to full, and I went out to ride to basically empty until I get home. And I got about 28.5 miles in one charge. Now, I know some of you guys are gonna be surprised at, you know, because how low this range looks. But, you know, if you have watched my previous video, you understand that my kind of range test is just me trying to kill the battery as soon as possible. And so 28.5 miles is basically what you will get from the X-Way in the worst case scenario. You know, when you're riding hard, when it's cold outside, you know, the battery is being just stressed really hard, and that's gonna be the kind of range you get. Now, if you are going to just ride around casually, I'm sure you're gonna get like double this, close to 60 miles in one charge, if just riding casually, no doubt. Okay guys, so street riding is done. Let's talk about where this wheel actually shines. It's off-roading. So when off-roading with the X-Way, the only way I can describe this wheel is that it is a freaking bulldozer. Okay, and what I mean by this is that it has so much power, so much pull, so much torque that it can just plow through everything. Like rocks, no problem. Plow through. Big roots, no problem. Climbing up slopes, no problem. Like it can just take up everything with no signs of like dipping or weakness. I'm a noob when I off-road, so I freak out when the wheel dipped, and you know I kind of want to bail. But with the X-Way, I never want to bail. This wheel just climbs everything. You know, just having that confidence that, you know, the wheel can take it, that makes you feel like you are invincible on the trails. You know, and the performance of the suspensions on trails is honestly just really good because, you know, it's just very consistent and very rapid. You know, it doesn't feel like it's just moving too fast or moving too slow. Everything feels just right with the suspensions. And most importantly, it also doesn't bottom out even on big drops, which I think is like really impressive with this wheel. So guys, in conclusions, I think you guys understand at this point, you know, what the X-Way is about. This is not a high-speed wheel. This is all about torque, about accelerations, about the monstrous like amount of pull that they have. You can still go pretty damn fast. You know, I think 55 is pretty fast. You just have to respect fuel weakening and let it work. Okay, you cannot just like hard accelerate over and over because you're gonna get beeps from the wheel by that point. Okay guys, so with that said, do I recommend the X-Way or not? Well, I think this is a big yes. So you see guys, I've owned basically almost everything that Begode made as of this point. And I've never really been satisfied with like their wheel. Their wheels are good, you know, they ride's good. The build quality sometimes is passable and okay, but you know, there's always something. There's always some like head scratchers in the designs. There's always some wacky choices in the engineering that just makes me upset about, you know, the wheel. But that ends with the Begode X-Way, because I'm honestly very, very happy with this wheel. This is the first Begode wheel that when I open it up, when I look around inside, when I look at the designs, I do see some flaws still, but the core essentials of the wheel, like the core chassis of the wheel, is solid. Another thing about the X-Way is that I felt like Begode, you know, didn't really like exaggerate or, you know, oversold anything about this wheel. They say that it was going to be a high torque off-road wheel, and they deliver exactly that. You know, like there's just nothing was oversold and nothing was undersold. So like, I love the build quality. I love the utility of the suspensions. I love the performance of the wheel, and I like that Begode, you know, is committing to this wheel. They are providing, you know, upgraded parts for this wheel, and you know, I think the X-Way have a great future. So yeah, guys, this is it for the video. I don't want to talk too much because I've talked quite extensively in my first impression video. The X-Way inclusions is a great wheel. It's good build quality, good performance, good overall. The price is $35, I think is like still a little bit too high for this wheel, but it's in line with like the F22 and the Lynx and the Apex. So like, you know, I guess that's how the market is nowadays. I'm not gonna complain about prices, but you know, for the money, you're getting a really, really good wheel. And again, I'm very impressed with what Begode has accomplished with the X-Way. Also, I will be getting my Lynx back very shortly in the next few days. So I'm still going to make like the comparison video, you know, like the Apex, the Bliss, the X-Way, the Lynx, 4 ways comparisons. It's gonna take a while, but you know, just be patient. It will come out eventually. All right, so that's all. Goodbye.